The next time you're standing at the gas pump, take a closer look at the buttons. You'll likely see little yellow or blue stickers with the letter E followed by a number. That E stands for ethanol. It is a plant-based alcohol brewed from crops, and it gets mixed straight into traditional petroleum gasoline. Adding alcohol to fuel goes back decades. During the 1970s oil shortages, drivers pumped blended gasohol to stretch supplies and rely less on imported oil. So when selecting a grade at the pump, you are choosing a carefully crafted chemical recipe, designed to balance how your car performs with what comes out of the tailpipe. Inside your engine, a tiny droplet of fuel sprays into a metal cylinder. A spark plug ignites it, creating a small explosion that pushes a piston down, which turns your wheels. The issue is that burning pure 100% petroleum is messy. It leaves behind unburned pollutants and harmful carbon monoxide that escape out the exhaust pipe. Think of ethanol as a clean seasoning added to the fuel mix. Because ethanol molecules carry their own extra oxygen, they force the entire droplet of fuel to burn up completely and cleanly. To make this cleaner liquid, we must leave the oil rig and go to the farm. The ethanol portion of your fuel recipe is always grown and harvested. In the US, corn kernels undergo a milling process, using water and enzymes, breaking tough starches into simple sugars for yeast to ferment into alcohol. Conversely, Brazil and India use sugarcane. Already packed with raw sugar, it skips the breakdown step, going straight to fermentation. But brewing this plant-based fuel carries a hidden environmental cost, known as a water footprint. The true impact of the fuel depends heavily on how much water the farm required to grow the crops in the first place. This chart shows the volume of water consumed to produce a liter of ethanol. Notice the water use bars are much lower on the right. That represents farms using precise underground drip irrigation, which dramatically shrinks their water footprint compared to traditional methods. Ethanol's reputation as a green alternative is entirely dependent on the specific plants and the farming techniques used to grow them. Once the ethanol is brewed, it has to get to your local station. Because pure ethanol acts like a sponge for water, it cannot travel through our regular underground pipelines. Instead, it gets trucked to specialized distribution terminals, where it is carefully splashed into the gasoline right before delivery. This brings us back to the menu at the pump. The E numbers you see represent the final consumer-facing blend ratios of that mixing process. E10 is a mix of 10% ethanol and 90% gasoline. It is the universal baseline recipe, making up nearly 95% of all fuel sold in the United States today. You might also see E15 or E20. These are spicier blends with higher doses of alcohol. They offer a cleaner burn, but you need to know your car's manufacturing year to use them safely. These options are a chemical sliding scale. With every step up in number, you rely a little less on deep earth fossil fuels and a little more on surface-level renewable agriculture. There is a physical trade-off to this recipe. While ethanol burns cleaner, it contains roughly 33% less total energy per gallon than pure gasoline. With a high percentage of ethanol, your gas gauge drops a little faster, decreasing the total miles you can travel. There is also a chemical danger: phase separation. Ethanol absorbs water condensation, becomes heavy, and physically separates from the gasoline, sinking to the bottom. This waterlogged alcohol can be destructive to older engines, causing internal corrosion while wearing out rubber seals and hoses that were never designed to handle alcohol. In a vintage car, an overly spicy ethanol recipe reduces your total fuel efficiency and can eat away at these sensitive engine components from the inside out. But if you drive a modern passenger car built after 2001, you don't need to worry. Your vehicle was engineered with robust materials that digest E10 and E15 perfectly without corrosion. Automakers also build flex fuel vehicles. These are specialized machines equipped with heavy-duty lines to safely handle E85, the spiciest recipe on the menu. Inside these cars, a submerged sensor constantly reads the rushing liquid, instantly triggering a mechanical valve to adjust its flow. This onboard computer detects exactly how much alcohol is in the tank and dynamically tunes the engine's timing to match the recipe. Every time you pick a grade at the pump, you are navigating a bridge between the cycles of agriculture, the science of molecular chemistry, and your engine's specific design limits.